Hi, I'm Basarat the TypeScript guy and welcome to my channel. In today's lesson, I would like to discuss why I think directive-based ngIf and vIf models offered by Angular and Vue are inferior to the virtual DOM JSX Boolean operator-based conditionals offered by React and other frameworks. Let's go. Before we dig into how JSX handles conditionals, let's look at how they're handled in Angular and Vue. In Angular, you create conditionals using the ngIf directive, which appears as an attribute on the element that you're trying to conditionally render. There are multiple ways to use ngIf, but the common theme here is that it appears as an attribute after the element is declared. The Vue's vIf directive follows a similar pattern of conditions appearing as an attribute on the element. One of the most common bugs that you will experience as a front-end developer is when items fail to display. And because these directives share the same space as other attributes, they can actually be quite hard to observe at first glance. Now let's look at how these conditionals are handled in JSX virtual DOM systems like React. In JSX, you do conditionals using a boolean and the boolean AND operator. Notice that within the curly braces, you are in actual genuine code context. So you can use your code practices, for example, code refactoring for cleanups. In addition, notice that the conditional is nicely separated from the element that it is controlling. Over here, the attributes, for example, the class name, are not intermingled with conditions, for example, 50-50. And this conditional rendering is no different from how you might do conditional rendering, for example, on the console. The React renderer is slightly more smart than that, and we can actually create a similar function for console as well, where we take an input that might be a boolean, null or undefined, or a string, and if it's a boolean or null or undefined, we simply return and do not log anything. Otherwise, if it is a valid string, we go ahead and log that out. Now if we go ahead and invoke this function, for example, with a null value, it will not render anything out and neither will React. The same will hold true for other excluded values, which are undefined, as well as the booleans true and false. However, anything else will render just fine. One fact to know about the AND boolean operator in JavaScript is that if it doesn't encounter any falsy values, it resolves to the final truthy value. However, if there is any falsy value in the chain, it resolves to the first falsy value within that chain. So for example, if you were to use false and anything else, example would be false, and therefore nothing would log and nothing would render. All that we are doing with conditionals is that we're placing this conditional right before the item we are trying to conditionally control. So this is exactly the same as the previous example, however, false is now part of the rendering process. If, of course, the condition is true, then it will resolve to the last truthy value, which will be example, and we will see rendering on the console in the screen. Finally, a more complete version of the log function that works the same way as the React renderer would be something that takes React Node. React Node is anything that React can render. And now for our example, we can use anything that is a React node, like a JSX element. And you can see this React element being rendered on screen by React, as well as being logged out on the console. Hopefully now you understand how conditionals work in JSX and React, and why you don't need custom directives for this feature. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, share it with your friends, and subscribe for future content like this. Take care. Bye.